Hey guys, how are we doing? Back in another Mother's Basement video. Fingers crossed there won't be any problems with this one. I was really angry with that last one. I'm excited for this. This is the 10 best anime of winter 2019. And I'm really enjoying some stuff at the moment. I haven't caught up with everything. But I am currently enjoying The Price of Smiles, Boogie Pop and Others, Rise of the Shield Hero, my housemate is a cat. I was not expecting to enjoy that. I thought that was really good. And what else? There's a couple of those I can't remember off the top of my head. And then obviously we've still got ongoing stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what Mother's Basement has got to suggest as the 10 best anime of winter 2019. So let's just get into this.
Winter. The season that we've packed full of holidays to distract us from the fact that it's really goddamn cold out and everything objectively sucks right now.
Yep.
And with the best holidays over and done with and a month left to go before your annual reminder that no, you can't take your body pillow out to a fancy restaurant, there are a lot of hours left in the month that I'm sure you'd rather fill with something other than gnawing existential dread.
Yes, please.
And that's where anime comes in.
Yay!
The start of the new year means the start of a new season and a deluge of new titles to wade through, trying to figure out what will brighten your winter's day and what will only make the nights colder and darker. Luckily, you got me to watch it all in your stead, help you sort the good from the mediocre and hilariously awful, and tell you the 10 new shows this season that are most worth your time.
Okay.
On that note, I try my hardest to avoid putting second or third seasons on these lists because those are harder to get into than new shows, and I figure that most people who might be interested in them are already tuned in.
Watching them, yeah.
But I'm making an exception to that for Mob Psycho 100 Season 2,
yes,
because the first episode alone was so good that it made me realize this series as a whole might just be my favorite anime of
It's
all
amazing.
time. And having read the manga, I know that it's only going to get better from here. If you're unfamiliar, Mob Psycho 100 is a show about a middle schooler
How have you
with
not seen it already?
Come on. Mob, who suppresses his emotions to keep those powers in check, and as a result has a lot of trouble in social situations.
Yes, but when his emotions get the better of him...
ironically guided down the path to functional adulthood by a phony psychic named Reagan
He's so funny.
who has made it his mission in life to con gullible idiots into doing things that will actually help them instead of just asking a psychic for help. As One Punch Man's smarter younger brother, Mob Psycho 100 has some of the most complex and relatable characters in anime and manga, period. A profound core message about what it truly means to be a better person, and a fluid, dynamic style of animation that blows
class, the animation when they're doing fights and stuff. It's just like, whoa.
I know I say a lot of nice things about a lot of very nice anime, but this one is really something special. And if you're not watching it, you are seriously missing out. Not just on a good anime, but on a phenomenal source of reaction images, and on Reagan, who is objectively the best boy of 2017, 2019, and all other years, no matter what the anime awards say. Miles. So if the fact that you haven't gotten into it yet and there's another season you've got a marathon in order to enjoy this is scaring you off, don't think of it that way. Instead, pretend that this is the first season and it just happens to start with an episode 0 that is 4 hours, 50 minutes, and 12 seconds long. And not a second shorter, because if you skip this show's wonderful OP and ED,
the OP is amazing.
You suck and I hate you.
Wow, there you go.
Now, psychic powers aren't the only vehicle for battles of the mind, and if you're looking for a series with more in the way of tactical clashes of wit, Kaguya-sama, Love is War has you covered. Narrated in the overdramatic style of kaiji with dramatic inner monologues and dastardly psychological warfare.
It is on my queue.
This anime from A1 Pictures depicts a battle for supremacy between two mental titans who lead the student council of an elite academy.
I'm going to watch this tonight then. That is on my queue on Crunchyroll. I basically went episode 1 and queued up everything. That was episode 1.
They like each other, but they don't want to give up the upper hand that they so clearly deserve.
I like that.
Honestly, I was sold on this series by its premise alone. The idea of two colossal narcissists concocting crazy schemes to avoid actually having to ask each other out is comic gold.
That's brilliant.
It's at once hilarious for how over the top it all is, and how relatable the emotions at its core are. Because
Cool.
Nobody really wants to take that first step, but someone's got to do it.
Someone has to.
Playing up that inherent awkwardness to such an absurd degree is a brilliant concept, and this
cool.
rom-com delivers on it with aplomb.
Because I was wondering what I'm going to watch next.
Both have a larger
but then I've got another episode of Price of Smiles to watch. And Boogie Pop and
chemistry with one another, and Chica, the good-hearted idiot who often comes between them, plays her part perfectly, unwittingly exacerbating their ego-driven, self-inflicted agony without ever giving off a hint of malice.
Right.
If you like your comedies sharp-witted and a little mean-spirited, this is the show for you.
Love it.
If you prefer other sharp things, Dororo has swords, and it's really good.
This is what,
Feeling this, Jeff. Dororo is a classic.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Manga created by
I've got Amazon Prime account.
Himself, Osamu Tezuka. It follows a wandering samurai named Hyakimaru on his quest to kill the 48 demons that stole his body parts when he was born as part of a power bargain with his father and reclaim the humanity that he lost
really
piece by
interesting.
piece. He's joined in his adventures by Dodo, a mysterious young thief who apparently aims to steal the sword hidden in his prosthetic arm, but really kind of just needs a friend. It's a pretty compelling story.
It seems really
but
interesting.
Despite that, and
like his dad,
having been adopted into the first world masterpiece theater anime, that original 1967 manga has been largely overshadowed by a lot of Tezuka's other work. And if you read it, it's not hard to see why. Dororo is a sort of transitional fossil in the evolution of Tezuka's storytelling, with goofy, anachronistic comedy
I like how he's putting where you can
cartoony
watch it
art
on
style
the
reminiscent of his
discussion.
earlier work,
Well, start
being
the
used to tell a more serious, mature story than those elements are really suited to. It's good, but tonally dissonant. Thankfully, this new anime from MAPPA strips away many of those cartoony sensibilities and plays up the serious horror elements, creating a creepier atmosphere that's better suited to its demon-infested Sengoku-era setting. The result is an adaptation with the potential to be miles better than the original, and the first 2 episodes already make good on that promise with some fantastic body horror, tight action scenes, and smart rewrites that make the new story feel better paced and more believable. But whether or
gonna have to check this out now that I know that I can see it on Amazon Prime.
Material, if you give Dororo a chance, I think you're going to be easily swept up in its dark samurai fantasy. Speaking of dark fantasy, there's one anime this season that I can't avoid talking about. My Roommate is a Cat.
It's amazing!
A show all about the dark fantasies that
so
a certain author dreams up about his eponymous pet. Every cat owner has imagined at one point or another that their feline companion might be trying to murder them. Mikazuki Subaru just imagines it a little more vividly than most.
It's brilliant!
One day, while struggling to come up with a premise for his next novel, the socially inept mystery writer happens upon a stray cat at his parents' grave and is struck with inspiration. This sneaky little creature is clearly
the way the episodes work is so good as
well. Ill intent. Well, okay, maybe not, but wouldn't it be neat if she was?
So that's why he writes it.
Takes the poor little creature home, convinced that by observing her he'll be able to craft his next mystery masterpiece, but he might pick up more from her than just story ideas. The hungry stray, Haru, has lived a harsh life and is slow to trust Subaru, but she begins warming up to him gradually, and while Subaru has only ever seen others as a nuisance, as he observes Haru and is forced to take better care of both himself and her, he begins to see the upsides of having someone who really cares about him around. Telling its story from both Subaru and Haru's perspectives
is brilliant.
Sweet little slice
it works.
Of life comedy
First half of the
episode
episode is his,
character writing
and the second
and a
episode
wry
is the
sense of humor that keeps it from feeling too sugary. While My Roommate is a Cat definitely is going to appeal to the kind of people who spend all day looking at cute animal compilations on Facebook, it doesn't come off as something just for them, like that insufferable goddamn talking dog movie whose trailers we cannot escape. There's a lot more to this than just cute Neko Moe, and if you give it a chance, I think you'll really enjoy this.
You will, guys. Watch it. Really watch it.
Up and love each other.
It's so good.
Now, with that out of the way, it's time to move on from manga to light novels, to a long-anticipated adaptation of one of the most significant works in the
Boogie
field,
Pop and others.
Boogie Pop and others. Boogie Pop, if you don't know, is a light novel series by Kohei Kadono that began in 1998.
I knew that because I checked it out on Wikipedia.
The whole light novel craze. Which, yes, means that technically speaking, Katano-sensei is the one to blame for SAO, My Sister, My Writer, and countless other atrocities, but he also inspired Baccano and Monogatari.
Hell yeah,
if you
Baccano's
don't
amazing.
hold the bad stuff against the series, I think you'll find a lot to like.
I've watched the first 3 episodes and so much has happened already.
As an original sequel to the books, this new anime made for the 20th anniversary opts to directly adapt them. That doesn't mean that it won't be confusing to newcomers, but that's sort of by design. Boogie Pop is a supernatural mystery told through disjointed, non-linear vignettes.
Yeah, it's all over the place, like, that it makes sense at points like, whoa.
Baccano, which Boogie Pop actually inspired, and while this approach makes the show a little hard to follow and a bit anticlimactic on first viewing, the trade-off for that is that rewatching it and picking up on things you missed before feels very satisfying. The mystery here is well constructed, and it's cool to see how your perception of events changes after you really know what's going on.
Yeah.
That does mean that the show is best enjoyed in a marathon sitting rather than episodically, but the confused discussions on Reddit and Twitter will make following it week to week enjoyable in its
That's
own way.
true.
But that nifty narrative gimmick is far from the only thing Boogie Pop has going for it. On top of the solid animation that you expect from a Shingo Natsume joint, the show features phenomenal sound design and music that gives it a surreal, unnerving vibe unlike anything else that's streaming right now. That alone, at least for me, was enough to get me past my initial confusion and keep the series engaging until I'd figured out what was going on.
Yeah.
Next up, it's time to talk about
episode 3. You kind of know what's going on, but then there's
isekai story with a lot of buzz around it, both for the
Rise of the Shield Hero
at its helm and oh crap, I made this too specific to do the beat around the bush joke again. Ah well, Rising of the Shield Hero is this season's obligatory big isekai thing, and
did something I didn't expect in the first episode.
As a Kinema Citrus show, it's a lavish production with strong direction, a good sense of atmosphere, great animation, and even better music, courtesy of award-winning Made in Abyss composer Kevin Penkin. Shield Hero tells the story of 4 heroes summoned to an RPG-style fantasy world to fend off evil with 4 legendary weapons. So far, so standard, but pretty quickly things go wrong. One of those heroes, guess which, is quickly betrayed by his party and left penniless without anyone to help him, forced to drag himself back up by any means necessary. There is an elephant in the room with this series, that the Shield hero, Naofumi's downfall, is caused by a false rape accusation. And I guess since I lean left and criticized Goblin Slayer for its first episode, people are expecting that I'm gonna hate that, but while false accusations are very rare in the real world, they do happen, and as long as this show's not saying, this is how it always is, I don't really have...
I don't think it's going to be like that. It seems to be playing it pretty good. It's just like they needed that to change the story up.
Though the writing around this one could be a lot stronger. Almost every human being that Naofumi interacts with in this first episode comes off as a cartoonish dickhead. While he's frustratingly naive, but also the only good person there, that dynamic raised warning flags for me that he might turn into a Kirito-style Mary Sue who suffers the foolishness and malice of everyone who's not him, while solving all of their dumb problems with his big, beautiful brain and his uncanny ability to always be right. The latter half of the episode eased those fears by showing Naofumi lashing out and acting like a dick himself.
Look, fine, if you're going to treat me like this, I'm going to be an ass to you as well.
Slave merchant to find a traveling companion. And as long as it doesn't try to excuse those actions, I think there's a lot of potential in an isekai narrative following an angry, morally compromised anti-hero as he walks the line between revenge
rather than I'm the hero, I'm going to save the day.
Here in general, the idea that each
gets along with everybody like
from a parallel version of Japan with a different history, and that they each represent a different isekai protagonist archetype is really cool.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
It seems like a good amount of thought has gone into building the fantasy world that they end up in as well, and I'm interested to see how the series will play with and maybe break away from its obvious video game inspirations. Whatever Shield Hero does with its premise, though, we can at least rest assured that it will look and sound good doing it.
I think it's going to be decent. I've really enjoyed the first 2 episodes.
Worlds, that's enough for me to be excited for this show. If it's bad, I'll be really disappointed, but if it's good, I think it'll be really good. Speaking of fantasy shows, if you're a fan of those or of moe comedies, then I'd also highly recommend checking out Endro, a cute show about cute girls saving the world from a
Crunchyroll, isn't it? There we are.
Our hero, Yulia Charlotte,
right.
Yusha for short, and her friends must contend
this is on my queue.
of fantasy
just because it's an episode 1 again.
Being sabotaged at every turn by the adorable Mao, the demon lord who she is destined to face herself, sent back in time and turned into a precocious little girl by a spell in their climactic final battle, who disguises herself as a teacher in order to prevent Yusha from ever becoming a hero in the first place. A plan that, of course, backfires spectacularly at every turn. Yeah. It's a bit of a contrived premise, but the comedic dynamic
sounds funny. That sounds funny. I'll check the first episode out.
I'm a big fan of comedies where oblivious heroes bumble their way to success with the accidental help of an absurdly obvious villain saboteur, and mixing that premise with an adorable moe cast just works. All of the characters are endearing and funny with great comedic chemistry, and the animation is the smoothest and most expressive I've seen go
that does look alright,
so far. Now, like any moe show, this could easily get creepy fast, but thankfully Endro hasn't gone in a fan-servicey direction so far. Episode 1 lands squarely on the Aeon Pure end of the moe spectrum, and as long as it stays in that vicinity, I think it's going to be a delight to watch week to week. I've been looking for a light, relaxing comedy to enjoy, and this cute little RPG parody, which is giving me flashes of Konosuba, Mahojin Guru Guru, and Yuru Yuri, fits that bill nicely. I've also been looking for a good, lighthearted harem comedy to watch ever since Yuna's Haunted Hot Springs let me down last summer, and I was pleasantly surprised by Tezuka Productions' new series, The Quintessential Quintuplets.
This is on my queue as well. What is this, though?
Fiscally challenged young man who takes on a lucrative tutoring job in the hopes of paying off his family's crushing debt.
Right.
The job pays 5 times the normal rate, but he soon learns that's because it comes with 5 times the trouble. The rich Nakano family has 5 unruly daughters, as the title suggests, all of whom are in grave danger of flunking out. If Futaro wants to get paid, he needs to come up with a perfect lesson plan for each of them to stop that from happening.
Right.
But first, he needs to get on their good sides and convince them that he's worth paying any attention to at all. I really like how the Quintessential Quintuplets tells its story.
Yeah.
The whole thing is framed as a flashback from Futaro and one of the quintuplets' wedding day, which creates a Nisekoi-esque air of mystery as to which of the girls he'll end up with, without falling into the Nisekoi trap of having that decision come down to fate instead of actual character agency. Each of the Nakano girls has a vibrant personality that's well defined from the get-go, and while they definitely hit your standard harem archetypes, they feel like they're more than just tropes. Likewise, the comedy in the series comes naturally from the character dynamics and has thus far managed to avoid repetitive, over-the-top harem cliches, though it's still a young show yet. Our hero, Futaro, has a clear motivation that will naturally lead him to getting closer to the girls without making it all about sex, as well as a strong personality that makes him feel like more than just an audience-insert doormat. Of course, any harem comedy is going to be a little convoluted, but I was surprised by how grounded this one felt overall. And also wholesome? There's a strong emphasis placed on family bonds, and not the creepy kind you usually see in anime, and while the girls are definitely attractive, the show is pretty light on overt fan service, which is really nice, actually. Much as I love my over-the-top ecchi, I also love the way that harem anime can explore their characters through interlocking love stories.
Yes,
that's a big
rather than just flashing boobs and panties everywhere all the time.
And Quintessential Quintuplets, absurd as it might sound on the surface, is shaping up to really deliver on that potential. And that's not the only series that set my expectations low, only to exceed them spectacularly.
Right.
When I started watching the Magnificent Kotobuki, I was almost immediately put off by its animation
it's a bit weird, that.
And I'm guessing that you might be too if you're looking at the screen right now.
That
Anime
is a bit
already
off,
suffers from putting 3D CG characters in the background of 2D animated series, but to make the main cast of your show CGI while all of the side characters are 2D just feels backwards and wrong.
Really weird.
And while all of the individual components of the show look good, the 2D characters are neatly drawn, and the 3D models are really well designed and animated, surprisingly so considering this is the studio that did Berserk. I don't know that there's any way that they could have executed.
I was recognizing the style there from clips I've seen from Berserk.
Hang up, I found myself adoring this anime. I'm a big fan of steam and diesel punk in general, and Wild West steampunk in particular, so I was immediately on board for a show about a squadron of ace pilots protecting an airship from sky pirates as it sails above a vast, untamed desert frontier. The fact that the squadron is made up of badass, cute girls is just icing on the cake. With Shirobako's writer and director on board, it kind of goes without saying that the interactions between those girls are an absolute delight. Every joke landed for me, and their banter in the opening scene was just perfect. I would have loved to hear more of it too, but the Magnificent Kotobuki seriously impressed me by opting not to let the girls talk in the cockpit. Once they're in the sky, their lives are on the line and they actually act like it, only talking when they absolutely need to. Instead of moe, then, the dogfight scenes are carried by thrilling camera work, realistic tactics, and pitch-perfect sound design. For a lot of the big battle scene, there's no music playing. The only thing that's happening is the sound of the guns and the engines, and it is still gripping. Seriously, do not make the mistake of passing the Magnificent Kotobuki over simply because it looks weird, especially not if any of its themes are of any interest to you at all. It is legitimately the best directed action series of the season by a wide margin. But also, don't mistake it for the other cute girls doing dogfight show this season, because Girly Air Force is some hot garbage, and you will not get those precious seconds of your life back if you accidentally watch it.
Right, so I'll scrap that off my queue then.
Last to the end of this list, and the best new series of the season, Mob Psycho notwithstanding, the Promise Neverland.
Oh my god, first episode's been amazing.
Biggest new series, and given pride of place in Fuji TV's vaunted late-night Noitamine block, all signs pointed to this show being incredible, and it did not disappoint. Cloverworks went all out introducing this show, and every aspect of it, from the animation to the music to the voice acting, is among the best you'll see this year. If you don't know what it's about yet, I highly recommend.
You can't really explain without spoiling the ending of the first episode.
If you're not bothered by minor spoilers. The Promise Neverland tells the story of Emma, Norman, and Ray, 3 out of 38 orphans who live carefree lives in Grace Field House, a lovely little orphanage where everyone is treated like family. Under the watchful eye of their mama Isabella, the siblings, marked with numbers on their necks, spend their days playing in the fields around the orphanage, being careful to avoid the big gate to the outside world and the fence in the woods that they should never ever cross. If you've seen an anime before, you can probably guess their life isn't quite as happy as it seems, as Emma and Norman discover the night their little sister Connie is sent out for adoption. Running after the little girl to give her a stuffed bunny that she left behind, the pair stumbles upon her corpse stuffed into the back of a truck, and learns that Gracefield House is less of an orphanage and more of a farm that sells human veal to rich demons. What's more, their beloved mother is in on it all. And while things could be worse, they could be in the American foster care system, that's still not great, so Emma and Norman vow to escape with all 35 now, I guess, of their siblings in tow. But, small wrinkle, they have to do it quickly before they turn 12 and are sold off as meat themselves. For a lot of different reasons, horror generally doesn't work too well in anime, but thus far, The Promise Neverland is hitting all the right notes and creating a chilling ambiance around Grace Field House and transforming these kids' idyllic world into a nightmare. And the somewhat cutesy art style, which would cause problems for any other kind of horror, is a perfect fit for a tale of kids sneaking around to usurp a malicious parental figure. With a strong mix of mystery and suspense and an equally strong cast of characters, The Promised Neverland is shaping up to be one of this year's best anime. If you only watch one show this season,
it's so good. The first episode's been amazing.
I'd like to thank HiDive for once again sponsoring this seasonal rundown. HiDive, if you're not familiar, is a new anime streaming platform that sets itself apart from the competition with a strong library of proper classics like Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Pat Labor, and Ninja Scroll. They have a ton of great older anime and OVAs that you can't watch anywhere else, as well as an increasingly strong simulcast library. Last season they had Bloom Into You and Release the Spice, and this season they've got The Promised Neverland, The Magnificent Kotobuki, Domestic Girlfriend, and a few ongoing shows from last season, including the best sports anime of last year, Run with the Wind, which which gives me a fantastic opportunity to say, watch Run with the Wind,
Hell yeah.
you cowards.
So good.
My Guide is a fantastic service with a lot of great quality of life features, but don't just take my word for it. Click the
That's why I'm really enjoying this season right now, because there's still shows that didn't end that are still carried over.
Leave a comment below letting me know what
and with the Wind
shows
still got
this
like a
season
few
you're most
episodes to
excited
go.
watch week to week. And
Radiant's
while
still
you're down there,
going.
I mean, you see those buttons, you know what
Time
to
got
do. With all my start of the year housekeeping finally taken care of, we'll be getting back to your regularly scheduled analytical videos starting
I'm hungry.
this weekend.
I'm sorry, I need
Please
some
look
chicken
forward
stuff.
to them, onegaishimasu. I'm Jeff Fu, professional shitbag,
Trying
signing out from my mother's
basement. You know my smartphone. That was a good video. I like it. Yes. Now that I know that Kororo is on Amazon Prime, I might check that out. Because it does look really good. Both Nooks and Mother's Basement have mentioned it now. And I'm going to have to see what else on there, because I never even thought of checking Amazon Prime Video for anime before. Like, how dumb am I? So I pay for Amazon Prime, so I hope videos included on that. I'll find out soon. But yeah, that was cool. So, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys? And what are you guys watching this season? Like, what do you? Let me know. Boom, boom, boom. Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys. Next time. Bye.